Good evening. It is time for today's Tax Talk. I'm your host. I'm attorney Stephen Leahy. It is Wednesday, February 9th, the year of our Lord 2022. And the IRS made an announcement today that they're going to stop sending some notices to people. Why do you think that is? Well, that's what we're going to talk about here today. Won't you join us? Okay, so this what's there's been a lot of talk from people. I've heard last week or a week before, I saw some stories out in the news about taxpayers getting notices from the IRS, collection notices in some cases, or other notices about not filing your tax return. And they said, "Wait a minute, I did file my tax return," and so. This is the response of the IRS. We're going to start with one of those stories because I think it's, start at the beginning, as I like to say. Let's start at the beginning. So let's do that. This was a story from last week. It looks like January 28th. So here's the title of the story. IRS cashed the check, but asked these taxpayers to resend their returns. Their checks to the U.S. Treasury were cashed nearly a year ago, but taxpayers say they're now receiving letters from the Internal Revenue Service asking them to immediately file their 2020 federal income tax returns. Yes, copies of their 2020 returns. Yes, the same paper returns they filed last spring. Please file today, the letter begins. Send your signed return to the address shown above. We'll assign the credit to the tax you owe and refund any overpayment if you owe no other taxes or obligations. Because if you owe the IRS money, you don't get a refund, right? They keep the refund and they apply it to what you owe them. Yes, some readers who contacted me wondered whether this could be some sort of scam. It wasn't a text message. It wasn't an email. It was a letter. Said one of these taxpayers. According to the letter sent to the couple in Gibraltar, the credit on their account is $1,056. The IRS letter warns that there could be more problems ahead if we don't hear from you. If you don't file your return or contact us, the form letter says, you may lose this credit. The Internal Revenue Code sets strict time limits for refunding or transferring credits. Well, that's true. It's actually 3 years. So if you don't file your tax return 3 years from the date it's due, you don't get the refund. So I've had a lot of people who haven't filed their tax returns in some years, and they think that they're okay. So let me just kind of address this because I get this a lot. Sometimes people believe that it's kind of like money in the bank. I just won't file my tax return. They owe me some money. It's like money in the bank. I'll just wait and I'll put them all together. I'll get a big check. And then they're horrified when they find out that if you don't file the tax return within 3 years, you don't get the refund. The IRS keeps that refund, and that's just the way it works. So you don't have money in the bank. A lot of times people have some money coming back, and they had they hope to apply it to what they owe. But if you don't file it on time, they won't even use it to what you owed. They won't apply it. It's gone. They eat it. And so, so again, if you have money coming back and you haven't filed your return and you're a W-2 employee, file your return. It doesn't make any sense to wait. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, that's my opinion. So let me go back to this. The taxpayer who keeps track of transactions in her checking account, people used to do that when they had a checking account, or when they wrote checks, knows the money cleared a year ago. And she recognized that the amount listed as a credit is what she paid in taxes. If a check doesn't clear, I follow up. It did clear. Who is retired and consultant for a tech company, knows the scammers often use emails or texts. But she wondered if somehow the scammers were getting even more sophisticated and created actual letters to demand copies of tax returns. And this, again, she didn't have to send that tax return. They have it. They just have it. Well, I guess that's not true. If you sent it in as paper, they may have lost it. It could be gone by now, and so maybe you have to send it in again. The notion of a scam seemed to make even more sense than thinking that the IRS could be sending letters to people who already paid their taxes and filed their returns. If the federal government cashed their checks, she and others wondered, doesn't that mean the IRS received their return in the mail? Since the return and the check were mailed together, why wouldn't the IRS already have their tax returns? It's a good question, and frankly, one that could leave you in shock when you're thinking about all the work that goes into filing your tax return in the first place. It's very unsettling to get an IRS notice when you think you did everything by the book, filed the return on time, sent the money that was due. The less scary part here, of course, is that the IRS wasn't trying to collect money from the couple. The letters that readers sent to me are marked Notice CP80. We're going to talk a little bit about that. And the letters I saw were sent out of Kansas City. That's a hub. The letter goes on to say, if you have already filed this return, please send a newly signed copy to the address shown above. Be sure to attach copies of all the schedules and other documents you included with the original return. The big backlog of headaches. The pandemic has flipped a lot of things in life upside down. The tax system has undergone sizable challenges since the 2-year-long pandemic began in early 2020. As of December 4th, 2021, the IRS said it had a backlog of 6.7 million unprocessed individual returns and 2.6 million unprocessed amended individual returns. I was going to see what was the difference there. This accountant said that the IRS is still processing millions of 2020 returns, and these notices go out automatically when the IRS believes it has not received a return. It's not in the system. The system knows it's not there. It sends you a letter. While it might seem on the surface that the delays have gone on so long that the IRS is unable to find many of the paper returns, many experts say that's not likely to be the case at all. A glut of automated notices might have been sent to many people who likely should not have received them. Another tax policy institute guy said it has an important place in the process. Said CP80 has an important place in the process. The notice would normally be sent when a tax return for a given year wasn't received, even though the filer might have paid a good deal of money already into the system, such as those estimated taxes. Someone might have forgotten to file a return when they have a credit to their account, money that could have been owed to them in a refund. When there's been a troubling event such as a trauma, a divorce, a death, or natural disaster. The CP80 notice lets the taxpayer know that when a return hasn't been filed, and they can file one in the time to claim any refund money. Or again, you have 3 years to do that. I don't know why this isn't moving. There it goes. Well, it kind of locked up on me, didn't it? Okay. The notices sent out January, though, seemed to be adding to the paperwork. On Thursday, the IRS announced that it would suspend notices in situations where they have credit, where they have taxpayers but have no record of a tax return being filed. The idea behind stopping the notices is to avoid even more confusion. The IRS noted in its statement, in many situations, the tax return may be part of a current paper tax inventory and simply hasn't been processed. That's probably the case. Stopping these letters, which could have otherwise been sent out to thousands of taxpayers, will help avoid confusion. Unfortunately, many taxpayers opened their mail already and read the notices before the IRS announced that it was halting some of these mailings. She had one such person already made the certified with return receipt. We are keeping records of all transactions, she said, noting that she, too, was told via her notice of credit to the couple's account. They made estimated tax payments but had filed their 2020 return by paper last spring and paid the rest of the money that they were due, that was owed when they filed the return. She said her friend received one of these letters, too, but hired a CPA to review her 2020 taxes and handle the situation for her. The IRS doesn't offer a clear detail on what notices it is suspending in this statement, and it doesn't even mention CP80 in the statement. In an email response to the Free Press, the IRS said that it has suspended issuing a CP80 and CP080 unfiled tax return credit on account notices. The IRS said the CP80 is a notice letter that informs a taxpayer that an agency has credited payments and or credits. We already know that. They already told us that. The IRS has not disclosed how many of the notices went out this month, but confirmed that the letters aren't a scam. If a taxpayer has received a notice for the 2020 return, they should not refile. They'll just get more paper. They don't want more paper. For taxpayers who timely filed their 2019 tax return, including extensions, and have received a notice, they should refile their return because that one's probably lost. Okay, and there are still 2019 returns out there. So anyway, this is what's happening. For taxpayers, taxpayers can also establish a log into their tax account, and now you don't need facial recognition. Remember, we talked about that on the IRS. Carl maintains that taxpayers who received the notice now regarding a 2020 return who not have to set return would not have to send a copy of the return if they already had filed the 2020 return and know that their payment went through. If you didn't file a return, obviously you could have money that you might be owed based on the notice and would want to file a claim to refund. Okay. If you received a notice regarding 2019 returns, you would need to send in another signed copy. The coalition's recommendations submitted to the IRS include discontinuing automated compliance actions until the IRS is prepared to devote the necessary resources for a timely resolution. Similar recommendation also included in the 2020 National Taxpayer Advocate Report. We read some of that report here. The automated system makes more sense if in more normal times when the backlog isn't so great. But bulk batches of notices now pose a great risk in alerting many taxpayers to problems that aren't real on their end. They're going to be wrong in many instances because of the backlog. The group also wants to see, among other things, the IRS providing taxpayers with targeted relief from the underpayment and late payment penalty for the 2020-21 tax year. The IRS maintains this, making significant operational challenges to our systems, including stopping certain notices from being printed and mailed, may require programming and other operational changes. With an outdated technological ecosystem, these are changes that cannot be made as efficiently as they should be. And that is part of the reason why investing in IRS, they never miss an opportunity to say, well, it's because we don't have enough money. We need more systems. We need better stuff. We don't have enough money. Well, why are you sending out letters? And we don't have enough money. Why aren't you sending out letters? Why? Because we don't have enough money. It's always we don't have enough money. Our system stinks. Well, how much money to put? Oh, billions of dollars a year. Billions of dollars a year into the IT. I don't remember at the top of my head, but I've done stories about this, about how much the IRS puts in IT every year. And there's an initiative right now to put more in. And they've been putting more in every year. And after 10 years, they're still behind. I just shake my head. It's just, Getting one of these letters, of course, raises other questions, such as why would the IRS have cashed the check if the return that was filed wasn't processed? Of course they cashed the check. Why would they wait to cash the check? Carl noted that cashing the check wasn't when it's received as part of the normal process. Of course it is. It's prudent. The U.S. Treasury uses the money to cover a wide range of government expenditures. No kidding. I don't know. You make your check payable to the United States Treasury and include a payment voucher called the Form 1040V. That goes with the paper check. The IRS notes when we use information from your check and make an electronic fund transfer, funds may be withdrawn from your account as soon as the same day we receive your payment. That they don't wait for. The returns are separated from the check, and the returns are processed further down the line after the check has been cashed. Normally, we're not thinking about the ins and outs of how the IRS handles all that paperwork. But again, not much has been normal in the past 2 years. Again, what do they need? More money. Their system stinks. They don't have enough. Their IT system just stinks, and they can't stop. They can't stop the automated letters. It takes too much time and effort. We're just going to send them out. Okay. So now here's the story from today from the IRS. IRS continues work to help taxpayers. Suspends mailing of additional letters. So that's, so they're following up on what we just heard. They said that they were going to stop them. So now they put this press release out today. It's dated today, February 9th. As part of an ongoing effort to provide additional help for people during this period, the IRS announced today that suspension of more than a dozen additional letters, including a mailing of automated collection notices normally issued when a taxpayer owes additional tax, and the IRS has no record of the taxpayer filing a tax return. These mailings include balance due notices and unfiled tax return notices. The IRS entered this filing season with several million original and unamended returns filed by individuals and businesses that have not yet been processed due to the challenge of a historic pandemic, and is taking the step to help avoid confusion from taxpayers and tax professionals. IRS employees are committed to doing everything possible with a. I'm just laughing because this is I love this bureaucratic ease. IRS employees are committed to doing everything possible with our limited resources to help people who doesn't have limited resources. Their limited resources are much more unlimited than your resources. The people during this season. We are working hard, long hours, pushing creative paths forward in an effort to be part of the solution rather than the problem. Our employees continue to expend every effort to balance a confluence of multiple unprecedented demands, including successfully starting the filing season, working our inventory of unprocessed tax returns, as well as looking for additional ways to minimize burdens for taxpayers, tax professionals, and businesses. Our efforts are not limited to suspension of these additional letters and the possibility of similar actions going forward. We have redeployed and reallocated resources throughout the IRS and have implemented innovative strategies in an ongoing effort to provide a meaningful reduction in our. What kind of strategies? Innovative, meaningful, innovative. You want to be more specific? Yeah, they were innovative. What kind of processes? Innovative processes. These automatic notices have been temporarily stopped, although they told us last week it was very difficult to stop. We can't stop them, but now they did stop them because their IT system wasn't good enough. Well, they made it work. These automatic notices have been temporarily stopped until the backlog is worked through. The IRS will continue to assess the inventory of prior years' returns to determine the appropriate time to resume these notices. Some taxpayers and tax professionals may still receive these notices during the next few weeks. Generally, there is no need to call or respond to a notice, and they only call. Remember, they only answer 1 in 9 phone calls. As the IRS continues to process prior year tax returns as quickly as possible. However, if a taxpayer or tax professional believes the notice is accurate, they should act and rectify the situation for the well-being of the taxpayer. For example, the IRS cautions, and this is important, people with a balance due that interest and penalties can continue they're not going to stop charging you. Just because they're not sending you a letter, you're still getting paid penalties and interest. In addition, IRS employees may, in select circumstances, issue notices to particular taxpayers to resolve specific compliance issues. The IRS does not have the authority to stop all notices, as many are legally required to be issued within a certain time frame. For them to levy you, they have to send these notices. If they don't send the notices, they can't garnish your wages. If they can't garnish your wages, they can't grab your money. Right? They can't go to your bank either and take your money from the bank without following these processes and sending these letters out. The IRS will continue to assess other changes in the system modifications that the IRS may be able to implement to assist taxpayers on an array of issues. How many issues? An array. Is that 2 or 3? An array of issues, a bunch of them. The IRS will continue to make information available to taxpayers throughout the filing season. The IRS encourages those who have a filing requirement and have yet to file a prior year tax return or to pay any tax due to promptly do so, as interest and penalties will continue to accrue. It's true. Here's a list of the letters that they're sending out. The CP 80, 59. Now, how do you know what letter it is? On the top right of an IRS notice, the top right-hand corner, you'll see CP something, sometimes LT11. That's the one that you got to really watch out for. But the CP 80, CP 59, the CP 501, 503, 504, these are just balance due letters, and they have to send these out before they could send the notice of intent to levy. Okay, so these are the letters. These are the notices. We call them notices. They're calling them letters. Same thing. They have that number on the top right. So that's what's happening. So anyway, I thought that was an interesting, I wanted you to know that they're stopped sending out these notices. Doesn't mean you don't owe the IRS money. They're just trying to stop the irate taxpayer who already filed their tax returns, and they're telling them, "Hey, I already sent it in." So, and it just exposes their how far behind they are. So, okay, so that's what we did. So thanks so much for joining us here today. I appreciate you taking the time. It's important that you join us. Remember, I'm going to ask you to like and subscribe. Like and subscribe. We need your help to get the word out. Who else does tax news every day? Remember, tax news is really the heart of all news. Most news, I should say. Because the violent stuff is not not most violent stuff. It's not the heart of it, but it's the core of most other news because most other news is the money they spend and how they get it. And that's taxes. That's the IRS. So that's what we help people do, and help us get the word out, please. And remember, if you're fighting the IRS and you're getting these notices from the IRS, and you need to, what's the first thing you need to do? The first thing you do when you're figuring out how to help yourself against the IRS is you get a copy of my book. Deal with your IRS problem today. Go to freeirsbook.com, freeirsbook.com. Get a copy of the book. Deal with your IRS problem today. So thanks so much for joining us today. Tomorrow's Thursday. I hope you can get a chance to join us then. We appreciate you being here, and we'll see you then again tomorrow.